Hello. So this is weird. The camera will not maintain the position I put it in. Like it's just constantly zooming in. So this will probably be a very short stream because I can't figure out how to get the camera to not zoom in. Um, this is a new one. I for the first 20 minutes the camera was on, it was fine. The minute I hit live, it just zoomed in. Um, yeah. So, um, yeah. Uh, no, there's no remote control for the camera. It's not a sticky button because I can. I don't know. It's the damnedest thing. I do not understand why it is going to full zoom. Nope, there's no link connector. There's no nothing. Um, it's I've power cycled the camera 3 times. It makes no sense. I All you would see is my skin because it's zoomed in that close. You can literally just see my skin. You can't even tell like what you're looking at. I mean, it's think about this extremist close up you can imagine, and that's what you have. I mean, literally, my eyeball would occupy most of the screen. Start wide. I mean, well, first of all, I can't get to the camera from where I'm sitting. Sitting. I mean, I guess I could do. Maybe I could do something like this. So literally, this is what it's doing. If I zoom all the way out, I did not do that. I'm not touching the camera, and that's what's happening. It is completely. It is completely being just dumb. Tape it zooming out. Oh, I guess maybe I could figure that out. Um, Hold on. Let me go away for a second, and I'll see if I can figure this out. Um, Stand by. I mean, the camera is like 3 feet closer to me than it usually is, and I'm zoomed all the way out, and you can see all the crap around the house. So, I don't know, you can see boxes, and I guess this works. My music was on. I thought this is so stupid. I don't know what the hell it's doing. So, don't blame the operator. I mean, I don't understand how the camera. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So I literally had to bring everything close. Because if I zoom all the way out, then it works. But obviously, this is not even remotely close to being ideal shot. Oh, there it goes. It's gonna zoom in. I bet I'm waiting for it. Is it gonna do it? No, nope. It's gonna do it. I'm just waiting for it. It's just gonna do it. And there we go. Yeah, that's just dumb. Oh my god. I don't understand. Even zoomed out, it doesn't work. I don't know. I guess it's officially time to buy a new camera. Because that is just. That literally makes no sense. I'm glad you all find this interesting. um, I don't understand. Oh, that's so depressing because um, so I haven't streamed in 64 days, and this is the crap that I get. Um, let me. What else can I do? I don't know. I don't have another camera anywhere. Um, I have a webcam, but that wouldn't work. Well, I mean, I guess I could go live from OBS. I mean, I'm already doing OBS as a overlay, so I mean, um, oh, what can I do? Let me give me. I mean, yeah, I guess I could do webcam OBS. Well, no, I can't because it's a virtual machine. Oh, I've screwed up. I've screwed that up too. Wait a minute. Where's my phone? Um. I mean, I guess I could do it that way, but I have nothing to hold it. Um, I could do a pass through, but I'd be in the wrong room. Hold on a second. I'm gonna Google something. um, if you if you if you look up JVC auto zoom. It comes with PTZ cameras. Obviously, I don't need a PTZ camera. I mean, I probably do need a PTZ camera, but I don't have one with me currently. Yeah, let's do it live really has a new meaning. I mean, this is completely not what I had enabled. That's what I was trying to figure out if you can disable the servo. I apologize for any audio issues. I'm taking the camera off the tripod. Hold on. I think I might have figured out a solution. Hold on. Well, now I'm so close. Oh, crap. Okay. Hold on, people. That's too damn low. Okay, hold on. Oh, hold on with the audio. I'm sorry. This is gonna probably suck. All right, what about that? A little closer than I would have liked, but at least it's not zooming in anymore. Is it my in focus? I can hardly tell. Looks like I might be. Perfect. I'm gonna be right back for a second. All right, so this is okay. This works. I guess it looks kind of like my regular shot. You can see I have been building Legos, and I actually have about a third of the model built, maybe. Gosh, it's really weird though because like I want to look at the camera, obviously for you guys, but my monitor is now over here. So if you see myself looking over here, it's because my monitor's over here. The camera, like I said, is about 3 feet closer than it usually is. Maybe that's not a bad thing. I guess I can see myself in the monitor a little bit better. At least that monitor. There's 2 monitors here. So let's go back to the beginning because, it took 20 minutes to figure out what the hell to do. So first was, oh good, my chat works. I was just gonna say, I'm like, does the chat even work? Nils was first. No, those are not your regular school lockers. No, it's not the School of Hard Knocks. Define live. Like I'm live, but not in the way I would want to be right now. Micah actually is correct. I went to TV transmitter school, also known as transmitter training, but I kept telling people I was going to transmitter school because it basically was like school, and we'll get to that in a second. Alonzo is here. Oh, Jeremy's here. Alonzo is here. Joe is here. We're back. I'm not saying we're good to be back, but we're back. Definitely run into some issues. Nils, like I said, was here. skip across. Across the room, maybe. I mean, maybe. It's definitely the camera. Some sort of logic error, I'm guessing, in the camera. Um, you love the wide angle, like, or this particular angle. I don't know that it makes much. I'm. This is probably an old comment. So, um, yeah. That should be the slogan for my channel. That just should be from where things happen live. Um, don't worry, David. You didn't miss much. um, I almost did the SRT over the phone, but that didn't. That would have took more time. Bob's here. Welcome in, Bob. Let's do it live. Yeah, definitely. All right. Audio is crunchy. What does crunchy mean? Because that part hasn't changed. Although I do see a little bit, maybe a little bit of red. I mean, I guess I am a little bit closer to the microphone than I usually am, so I'll back that off a little bit. So welcome back. It wouldn't be a live stream without something going wrong. I do apparently have the new top fans feature, and looks like, according to this, Jeremy is first, Nils is second, Bob's 3, Grish is 4th, and David is 5th. I find it interesting that Joe is not listed. Jason's Lab, welcome in. And yeah, whoa, that's definitely the the theme for tonight. Yeah. So, how you been doing? How's everybody going? Hopefully things are going well for you. They are not going well, as you've seen. Everybody's healthy. I mean, for the most part. I've just been crazy busy doing stuff. I went to transmitter school, and I mean, it all, I guess I started back, should go back a while. Most of you, I think, know that my dad passed away in April. And so I was not feeling up to streaming for a while. And then, let me just go to my calendar and see what all I missed, because there was a lot. So, yeah, my dad passed away. I did a little bit of streaming after that, but it just kind of, it felt forced a little bit. I got a little bit tired of it. Some other things kind of happened. I did a sleep study. I found out that I have sleep apnea, which explains why I'm not sleeping at night. I stopped breathing 34 times in an hour. I have high blood pressure, so I'm obviously now treating that. And then I went to transmitter school, as I call it, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Came back and basically was like just busy every night doing things, all through the month of May into June. Just try to keep things in order and just kind of trying to stay afloat, if you will. Work got a little crazy with some things, and just kind of. So it's been 64 days since I last streamed, and it's not for the lack of wanting to. It's just basically life happens. I got sick while I was at transmitter school and had a cough that I could not get rid of. And if I talked for more than, 20 minutes, I would just have a coughing attack and just could not stop. So that's finally gone. My blood pressure is under control. I actually finished my sleep study last night. So I got a CPAP machine coming soon, which will help me sleep. So that'll be better. And so, yeah, it's just kind of, I guess the answer is life. Life happens. So, but I'm back now. Hopefully, you guys all understand. I'm sure you do. And so, but we're back, and so we're going to talk about transmitter school. What is transmitter school? Well, when you buy transmitters and you buy enough of them, like my company does, we get to send people to the factory for training. And so I went to Illinois for 3 days. Well, actually, it was a 5-day trip because I left. I drove. It was like 8+ hours to get there. So I traveled on one day and was there for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 hours each day in what is essentially a classroom. Hence why I was kind of calling it school. And we spent the first day basically in a book learning about the parts of the transmitter and how it works. And then we did more stuff on day 2. And we got a actual tour of the transmitter manufacturing plant, which was really cool. Because this company has been around for a long time. It's called Gates Air. It's been around, I think since the invention of television, it seems like. Radio, actually. It was a radio transmitter company. Then it started making television transmitters. So it's been around for a long time. It's changed names over the years. But, if you've been in television for any length of time, you've heard this company name. So I've known about it for a long time and never got to go, but I finally got to go. So went to Illinois and got a tour. So Alonzo, I use a JVC. I forget the exact model number. But let's look at some pictures because it's more interesting looking at me. So let's go get the first one called up. So let's go. All right. So I have a lot of pictures. I'm not going to show every single picture because it's just way too much. But basically, this was the classroom setting. You could tell it looks like a classroom. But they had basically pieces and parts we could look at. And this is an actual combiner unit that combines different transmitter amps into one. And they had this like cross section available for us to look at. So a lot of this training school, or a lot of this, training, if you will, was this kind of thing. Looking at this thing, figuring out what it looks like and how it works. Because when we have our transmitter installed, it's working and we can't really poke at it. So in the school, if you will, in the training, we were allowed obviously to touch things and kind of like get to actually see what it takes to make a transmitter. And we'll get to this. There's another picture here in a second. So that was like kind of the classroom stuff. And then we went to the factory and the factory, they take copper plates, a bunch of other things, but this is, the part I thought was pretty cool. They turn these copper bricks into these, which are highly machined pieces. They use a CNC machine that was absolutely huge to cut them. And you could see, in this case, the water in the middle is everything's obviously being cooled and cleaned, and so the little pieces of copper are coming out the end. On the right there, you can see there's a kind of some gold there on the bottom. You can see that's where the copper comes out, and these pieces this is what they make. These are pretty heavy pieces, and they probably cost a pretty penny because they sure look shiny. Gates Air manufactures a lot of the components themselves. I don't have the picture, but they had a machine cutting the metal, and you can see some of the metal here in this picture, like that's being going through the paint shop. So they have their own paint shop. They have their own CNC machines, laser cutters. Like they dip their own stuff. Like, so this is their cleaning thing where they take the pieces. You can see all the different metal pieces up top. They get cleaned. They even manufacture their own cooling units. So like the pieces come in, like the radiator comes in and the fans come in, and then they actually manufacture the shroud that everything goes into, which I thought was pretty cool. Like a lot of this stuff is definitely custom made right there in the factory. They do testing in the factory. Like this is the TV test area, and there was so much power available. Like there was just power lines everywhere because they have to plug these things in, and it takes a lot of power to do that. This is a picture of what of that combiner unit kind of broken down, and you can see in the upper right hand corner more of that copper. They, like I said, they manufacture a lot of that stuff inside the the factory. I could explain this theory to this little piece to you if you want. I'm not sure how interested you are in that, but if you want to come back to that, we can. So we also got to see the lab. This is where they basically design and test things. This was actually in a completely separate building. So there's a factory building. There's the kind of the main headquarters, if you will. And then there's the training facility, which we were in. And I think there's even another building too, but I could be wrong. But kind of like the highlight, if you will. I mean, obviously the tour is great, but the highlight was seeing, kind of getting the hands-on training. So we got to go see the biggest transmitter they make, which this is one of the pictures in the thumbnail, is this transmitter, but a different view. But this picture, you can see there are 5 cabinets, there's 5 racks. Each rack has 3 power modules or power banks in them. And then you could see from this picture that each power module or block has modules in it. So in all, this transmitter has 150. No, it makes 150. I think there's 90. Yeah. No, there's more than that. 3 times 5 is 15. That's right. So there's 115 power modules in this thing. It makes a lot of power. This is the biggest transmitter they make. And so you can see from here that we got to train on how to, actually swap components. And we learned the official way of pushing the unit in, which is actually to use some sort of hammer device and push on the center because it has to get aligned correctly with the metal at the back, and the metal is very tight tolerances. The one thing that I especially learned that was actually helpful and I can come back and actually use was everything is water cooled. And so there's 5 cabinets. So there's 5 pumps that cool those cabinets. And we got to do a coolant flush at school. And then I actually came back and did the same coolant flush on our transmitter. So it was nice to actually go get some hands-on experience and be able to come back and actually apply it. We were overdue for a coolant flush. And if you're wondering, the coolant is the same stuff that you use in your car. It's 50-50 mix. So we literally went to Walmart and bought the coolant. It's nothing special. It's just a 50-50 mix of antifreeze and water. I often get asked, how big are some of these pipes? So here's a picture of a small pipe, or coax, if you will. That's the official name. And you can see my hand. Pictures, that's a small coax. But then there's the big coax, and it's the twice the diameter of my phone, essentially. So that is a Pixel 7, and then so basically it is. I think it's a Pixel 7. Maybe it was an iPhone. Yeah, it's not a Pixel 7. That would be no, it is. Sorry. So the coax could change from handheld size to twice the size of your phone. And that's that big because it has to handle the power. Again, you have 150 modules making power, about 800 watts a module, give or take. So what is that, 90 kilowatts is what it can make. And I think you can see over there on the left-hand side, you can see the transformer of the power that basically has to be converted and to power this thing. So yeah, that was kind of quick. I have more to show, but I get this at this point. I just kind of flustered. Power everywhere, unlike the village. Yes, so that was a good point. Power outages. We are now up to 7 power outages in the last, what was that, 2 months, 3 months? When was the first power outage? I can't find it. I don't know. But we've lost power a lot. We lost power several times because the company that supplies power to the village actually apparently dropped their neutral line onto our lines. That is no joke. That is what the mayor said, was that the neutral line from the power company touched our lines, causing our lines, of course, to go to ground and therefore shut off. Another time, we had a fuse blow. They put a 50 amp fuse in, and it required an 80 amp fuse. And so we blew a fuse. And not 80 amps like at 120 volts. This is like 80 amps at 7,000 volts or 10,000 volts. So the whole village lost power. Then we got a windstorm, and the windstorm broke 5 poles. They were literally leaning to the left, like 45 degrees. I mean, so we lost power. We did not actually lose power for that one. The part of the village did, but we did not lose power. We lost power because they were working on the lines, and for safety measures, they had to kill power to the whole village while they move the lines from the broken poles to the new poles. So I forgot to do it, but apparently Anchor is doing some sort of giveaway for the best power story, and so I need to go write up a thing about how he lost power 7 times, and that I flooded in the past, and I wish I had a battery backup system. Blah 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 blah. I'm a YouTuber. Maybe that'll win me something. I don't know, but they're giving away battery backup units, like whole home battery backup units. And so your comment, Joe, is very on point. It was plugged in, so maybe the camera did take a power surge. From a broad standpoint, how is ATSC 3 going? I mean, from a broad standpoint, it seems like there there are advantages and there are positive things to look at, and then there are things that are causing viewers grief. Not to play politics, but basically, some people want to encrypt the signal, some people don't want to encrypt the signal. That's obviously, people are butting heads over that. I'm not going to give my opinion, but basically, you have people arguing over, should the signals be encrypted? Should they be free? Should one signal be free and the other encrypted? Can you offer subscription services? Can you do this? Can you do that? So I feel like the amount of announcements of ATC 3.0 stations have slowed down dramatically, and I don't know the reason for that. But there's some cool technology out there. I heard about it's, what is it, BPS, or the broadcast positioning system, where apparently we can, we as TV stations can become part of the GPS system, I guess, or offer a counter service to the GPS system that is way more accurate in terms of like down to the millimeter, as opposed to, you know, being within feet or inches. Look that up if you're interested. I wasn't 100% sure on how that works, but I guess we transmit some sort of signal. If you buy a box that receives that signal, then you know exactly where our towers are. And because you're a lot closer to our towers than you are the satellites, your accuracy is much better, from what I understand. So that's an application that ATSC3 can obviously play a role in, but what is that going to take to implement, and will you have to buy a special box to do it? I don't know. You know, do smart cars get that because then they can know where they are better? I don't know. So broadly, I think, you know, it's moving forward, but how fast and whatnot, don't know. I do know that I have an HD home run, and there was supposed to be a beta firmware that was supposed to fix the ATSC reception issue, and it did not fix it. So I still can't receive encrypted channels on my box. So, you know, obviously that's a problem. So hopefully that answered your question. Nils says, so what does every one of those slotting devices do? So, hold on a second. So what he's holding is a power amp, is an amp module. So it takes a very low signal and obviously amplifies it. So that one outputs, I think, about 750 to 800 watts. And there are a bunch of them. And yet, so yes, they are essentially, you know, all in parallel. And therefore, they're all adding to the signal. So if you take one out, you don't even notice. Well, on this transmitter, you wouldn't notice. On a smaller transmitter that only has like 10, you might notice about it. But on this kind of transmitter, you take one out and you're not even going to notice it, because the other ones will just take the load. So, because they're not all running at peak power, but, you know, I guess they could be. So yeah, so basically those are amplifiers, and, you know, you can swap them out, and they do go bad. And we've had to swap out several on our transmitter. Now we have the much older version, or much, it's a different line of transmitters, but it's basically the predecessor to this one. These new modules are way smaller than our modules. Like ours are, you know, like the size of, I don't know, I don't have a good reference point, but, you know, if I was to hold one of our modules, I have to, you know, my arms would be fully out to my sides like this, and it would be very heavy. These modules are 1 RU tall. They're deep, but they're not, very big. I could easily hold it in my hand right here. A little heavy, but I mean, I could easily hold it up to you. The modules on the old transmitter that we have, I could not hold it up like this. Oops. So you see there, yeah, basically there's 10 amplifiers, and then there's 2 what they call phase and gain cards that obviously phases everything together, because we learned that phase is very important. In fact, it's the most important thing when combining transmitters or amplifiers. On the left-hand side there, those little itty-bitty white things with fans are power supplies. So I think there's 8 power supplies in a frame, or maybe there's 10. I guess there's 10. There's 10 power supplies, 10 amps, 2 phase and gain modules, and then there's that little controller for each power block, they call them. So hopefully that answers your question. Yes, Jeff Gerling and his dad on their second channel or whatever it is definitely showed the transmitter site where they have that, because that was at a 50,000 watt AM, and so not quite as powerful as this. Like I said, this is about 90,000 watts. That was a 50,000 watt transmitter, and that's ERP. So like, this thing outputs 90 kilowatts into the coax, and by the time it actually comes out the antenna, it could be 1,000 kilowatts. So you can get very, very powerful TV stations versus radio stations. But the funny thing is that most most TV stations now are lower power than radio stations, because of the digital TV doesn't take up or doesn't require as much power as analog does. So, my station went from being 6 times what a radio station would be to a third of what a radio station would be. So, I mean, we went from huge power bills down to very small power bills, relatively speaking. So, just interesting to note. Yes, I would say adoption has definitely slowed on both sides. Did Jeff do a BPS video? I don't know if I saw that or not. BPS would be cool for Dante. I've heard of clocking Dante to GPS. Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. Gosh, to send Dante across the VPN? That would be something. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it because we would receive, the BPS system would be tied in with the GPS system, so it would have the same clock, if you will, but because it's a known fixed location, never changes, your accuracy is better, because you can basically figure out how far you are from the transmitter or transmitters, and you could do that math to see, what your delay would be, and then your accuracy, because you're obviously, if you can see more than one transmitter, then you can pinpoint your location, add the GPS involved, and now you got like highly accurate stuff. Yeah, no, it is. So in analog, VHF stations, well, it depends which ones you were. If you were the low VHF stations, which was 2 through 7, your maximum ERP was 100 kilowatts. If you were channels 8 through 13, your maximum ERP was 316 kilowatts, and if you're UHF, you were basically a million watts, right? I think it was a million. Now, most stations might do 20 kilowatts or 30 kilowatts if in the VHF range, and your UHF station might be 200, if maybe so you went from essentially maybe a million watts to 200 kilowatts. You went from 316 analog. That's now peak. That's not average. That was peak analog was 316 down to 20. So it's not exactly a good comparison because, like I said, analog that was peak. So that was the most power you could put out. You weren't constantly putting that power out because you were modulating a wave. And digital is always the same output no matter what. So it's not exactly a fair comparison, but you can see how the transmitters are designed to do completely different things because one output a ton of power that's constantly fluctuating, and now the new ones are just putting output constant power. So well, yeah, because he's on a big time kick, which is cool. I think it's interesting. But I think the selling point of BPS, hold on. And apparently my cough is back, so apparently I can't talk for very long. So I'm going to cut this short. But yes, Jeff's focus is time, which I do appreciate, but I think the commercial application is more for accuracy, and I'm thinking like drones or automated cars or I guess maybe construction, and you're trying to figure out where exactly you are, where you're building, whatever. Flying, I'm not sure if there's an application for flying. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, my cough is coming back. I'm going to go before I have a coughing attack. And so, but it was kind of good to be back with you guys. I mean, it was good to be back. I just feel bad because I didn't really give you a very good stream because of technical issues. So I feel bad for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I think you probably did, knowing you guys. And I do appreciate all of you being here, all the regulars. You guys come back. So I do want to do this more often again. Things have kind of settled down, so I should be able to do it. I will not be here next week. I am traveling for work, and I'm off for some vacation, so I will not be back next week. But I wanted to get this in while I could, and obviously I have work to do before the next live stream. So thank you all for being there, and you all have a good night.